Okay. I think we need to talk about Captain Price and Valeria in Modern Warfare 4 because after watching this new traffic teaser, I have reached one very important conclusion. These two should never be allowed to work together, and somehow they're exactly the two people who need to work together. This isn't friendship, this isn't loyalty, this isn't even a partnership. This is basically two extremely dangerous people saying, I don't trust you either. Perfect. Let's go to Paris. What could possibly go wrong? I mean, everything. Absolutely fucking everything. And honestly, that's what makes this relationship so damn interesting. Because Activision and Infinity Ward have already told us that Prez is a completely different man in Modern Warfare 4. He's an operator turned outlaw, he's working outside the system, and is on his personal mission that eventually puts him into some very questionable alliances. And then they looked at the most questionable person they could possibly give him as a partner. Valeria, the leader of the Las Almas cartel. Yes, that Valeria. The woman Price absolutely should not be trusting. And apparently, his solution is, you know what? Let's put her in the passenger seat. Bruh, what are we doing? The entire traffic teaser basically screams that Price and Valeria are working together because they have a deal. Valeria tells him, don't forget our deal. We don't get to Paris, you don't get your Echa.
Don't forget our deal. We don't get to Paris, you don't get your archer.
And Price is basically stuck with that because whatever this mysterious Eka is, he needs it badly enough to make a deal with the freaking cartel. That's crazy. Imagine being Captain Price. You fought terrorists, you fought Makarov, you've gone after Shepard, you've watched Task Force 141 collapse around you. And after all that, your greatest challenge is apparently, can I survive a road trip with Valerio? Because that's basically what the traffic looks like. It's not a mission. It's couples therapy with automatic weapons, except the therapist is dead. And so approximately 47 police officers. And you can see it immediately. Prez is constantly questioning what's happening. He's not comfortable. He's not relaxed. He's basically sitting there thinking, this woman is absolutely going to betray me. And Valeria is like, Capitan, stop being dramatic. That's the entire relationship. Price, what's your plan? Valeria is like, trust me, Price, no, Valeria, it's a good talk. And then they drive directly into a war zone. This is why I don't think Valeria is suddenly Price's new best friend. There is no evidence that these two have developed some beautiful friendship. Quite the opposite. The entire relationship appears to be transactional. Price needs something, Valeria needs something. They both have resources that the other person doesn't have. So they make a deal. And that is probably the most dangerous kind of alliance you can have. Because when the deal stops being useful, what exactly keeps them together? Absolutely nothing. And then we get the police scene. This is probably my favorite part of the teaser. Press asks, we are engaging police? And Valeria basically responds, no, but they bleed just the same. Bro.
They bleed just the same.
This is why you immediately see the difference between them. Price still has a line. It's a very, very blurry line, but it's there. Valeria looked at the line and said, what's that? What the fuck is that? Price is still thinking like a soldier. Valeria is thinking like a cartel boss. For Price, the question is, do we really need to kill these people? But for Valeria, the question is, do they have ammunition? That difference is huge because Price might be operating outside the system now, but that doesn't mean he's completely abandoned everything he believed in. And that's actually important considering how Infinity Ward has described this version of Price. He's darker, he's operating outside the rules, he's doing things he probably never would have done before, but he's not necessarily evil. He's basically walking towards the edge of the cliff, and every mission asks, how much further are you willing to go? So Valeria is basically the worst influence possible, and this is where I think the relationship gets really interesting. Price is already going rogue. He's already being hunted. He's already outside the system. And then Valeria shows up like, hey, I know you're having your moral crisis. Want to commit several international crimes? And Price is like, fine. This woman is basically the devil sitting on his shoulder, except the devil has a cartel and he has unlimited supply of weapons and apparently knows how to get Price closer to Archer. And that's why Price needs her. Officially, Modern Warfare 4 described Price as pursuing a weapon powerful enough to shift the balance of power while being pulled into uneasy alliances and illicit operations. So Valeria isn't random. She's part of the mechanism that's allowing Price to operate in this new world. Price has the experience, he has the combat ability, he knows how these military operations work. But Valeria has something Price doesn't have anymore: access. She has people, she has money, she has criminal connections, she can move things that Price can't move, and most importantly, she doesn't care about the rules, which is exactly what makes her useful and exactly what makes her dangerous. Then we get another hilarious moment. Valeria tells Price,
You should know better than to doubt me, Capitan.
and I'm sorry, this is the funniest possible thing she could say to Captain Price, because this man has spent his entire career doubting everybody. Price could be standing next to God himself and still be like, what's your angles? So Valeria saying you should know better than to doubt me is basically telling the most paranoid man alive, stop being paranoid. Girl, that's his entire personality. That's like telling Ghost, you should smile more. It's not happening. Later, Price says, there's too much heat on us. We are exposed out here. This is Price trying to be tactical. He's looking at the situation and saying, we are surrounded. We need to get out. And Valeria responds, so are they. That sentence tells you everything. Price sees danger. Valeria sees an opportunity. Price sees 100 enemies. On the other hand, Valeria sees 100 targets. And that is probably going to be the biggest problem with this alliance. Because eventually, Price is going to have to decide, how much of Valeria's way of doing things is he willing to tolerate? Because right now, he's already participating, he's in the vehicle, he's fighting, he's destroying things, and he's completely accomplishing whatever this operation is. So every time Valeria crosses a line, Price is going to have to decide whether he's willing to cross it with her. And that is where this relationship could get really interesting. Let's be honest. Do you genuinely think Captain Price and Valeria are going to finish this game and say, wow, that was fun? Sometime next year? No, absolutely not. One of them is almost certainly going to betray the other. Maybe Price kills Valeria. Maybe Valeria betrays Price. Maybe they both betray each other at different points. But there's no way this relationship stays stable because the foundation is literally, I don't trust you, but I need you. And that's one of the most unstable relationships you can possibly create. And honestly, that's why I love it, because Price doesn't need Valeria because he likes her. He needs her because she's useful. And Valeria doesn't need Price because she suddenly became a task force 1 for 1. She needs him because Captain Price is Captain freaking Price. They are both using each other and they both know it. That's what makes this partnership so damn entertaining. Imagine Ghost watching all this from the outside. He sees Captain Price, the man who basically trained him, running through Paris with Valeria, the leader of a massive cartel. They're shooting at French forces. They're blowing up the streets. They are driving some giant armored death machine through traffic. And Ghost is probably sitting there like, yeah, I'm going to need somebody to explain this. Guys, Captain has a plan. Ghost, what plan? And Gaz is like, apparently she's using Valeria. Ghost, we are cooked. And honestly, I can't blame him because from the outside, Price doesn't look like a hero anymore. He looks like a man who has completely lost his mind. But that's exactly what makes the story interesting. We know why Price is doing it. At least we think we do. He's chasing something. He's chasing Archer. He's trying to accomplish something big enough that he's willing to work with someone he doesn't trust. And if that thing really is connected to the larger weapon storyline teased for Modern Warfare, then Price may genuinely believe that working with Valeria is the lesser evil. The problem is, Valeria doesn't believe in lesser evil. She believes in winning. So after seeing Traffic, I don't think the big question is why is Price working with Valeria? I think we finally know the answer. The question is, how long can Price work with Valeria before one of them puts a bullet in the other? Because this isn't friendship. This isn't redemption. This is not some awesome Captain Price and Valeria buddy adventure. This is two dangerous people who desperately need something from each other, while knowing full well that the other people could screw them over at any moment, but they could screw each other. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is probably going to be one of the most toxic partnerships we've ever seen in Modern Warfare. Price and Valeria aren't Batman and Robin. They are more like Batman and the person who sold the Batmobile to a cartel. And I'm absolutely honest here. Now, the big mystery remains, what the hell is Eka? Who the hell is Eka? Because if Price is willing to make a deal with Valeria just to get it, whatever Eka is, it better be worth the damn headache. And if Infinity Ward keeps showing us these little teasers, we're going to have the entire campaign figured out before the game ever launches. So please, Infinity Ward, stop showing us everything. I wanna be surprised. I don't need mission 7, mission 8, mission 9, mission 10, and the ending before I even finish my breakfast. Give us crumbs, not the entire damn bakery. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Is Price actually using Valeria? Or is Valeria using Price? And more importantly, who do you think betrays who first? This is a bit bust. See you in the next one.